chat here today again, looking at how biographers choose to include facts that reveal something important about their subject's personality traits and motivations. Now, we've been diving into biographies and people such as famous Hoosiers in writing, and now as we go along, we're going to take time to look at how the people who write biographies, who are called biographers, the facts that they tell us. We're going to learn how to infer about some of the facts from the book that are given and think about what is the author trying to tell us about the personality or motivations of the subject of the biography, right? And so we're going to be able to reveal what the person is really like as we infer based on details out of the biographies. Now, today we're going to look at a couple biographies about a couple different people. First one we'll look at is Action Jackson, about Jackson Pollock. And then we'll also take time about The Secret Kingdom, about Nek Chand. Okay? So, as we go through, I'm going to read sections of both these books. And as we go through, we're going to talk about and share what the subject is really like, as well as how the biographer, the person who wrote the book, shows what the subject is like. The subject, again, is the person the book is about. All right? So I'm going to read here a section from Action Jackson. All right? So, how would you describe Jackson Pollock based on the information as I continue to read? All right? And think about how the biographers show what Jackson is like. Okay, so I'll take some time here to read first two paragraphs here. Some artists cover the canvas with a base coat of white paint. Not Jackson. He wants the paint to soak into the surface, leaving bare patches peeking through the stains of color. Some painters use oil paint or watercolor. Not Jackson. He'll use ordinary house paint from the hardware store to make this painting. Some artists paint pictures of flowers or people or landscapes. Not Jackson. He expresses his thoughts and feelings directly on the canvas, calling it energy and motion made visible. Okay, so let's go ahead and look here about what the subject is like. He's definitely different from other painters. So I'll say, since he's different from other painters, I'm also going to say he's unique. Kind of one of a kind, right? And he's also inspired by nature. Okay? Now, I'm going to read one more section here. Pages 14 through 16. And as I do, think about what do you learn about Jackson's personality as well as his motivations from these pages. Okay, and then also think about what did the biographers show you about what Jackson was like. The next afternoon, Jackson prowls around the canvas studying his work, but he doesn't pick up a brush. Instead, he walks the beach past the sandy marshes and the tall spartina grass that waves in the breeze. He spends hours sitting on a grassy dune watching the gulls. In the barn, the layers of paint dry. Almost a week passes before he dips a brush and begins his dance. What is he thinking? Does he see the sunlit beach, the pattern of waves, the interlacing branches of the trees, the lush summer grass outside his studio? I don't know where my pictures come from. They just come, and the paint flows. So, how does the biographer show what the subject is like? Well, let's see here. The authors here wrote how Jackson did the opposite of most painters. He did the opposite of most painters. Painted no base coat. Okay. And then also thinking, see here, they told about Jackson on the beach. And, oh, they also included a quote from him, right? Okay. All right, so again, this is what the subject is like. This is how the biographers show what the subject is like. All right, so now let's dive into The Secret Kingdom by Nick Chand. Okay? So as I read, think about what the biographer reveals about Nick's personality traits and motivations. Okay, here we go. Page 14 first. In the crowded towns, no one needed another poor farmer, so Nick shoveled gravel to build roads. He found work as a government road inspector and moved to India's first modern city, Chandigarh. 26 villages were bulldozed flat to build Chandigarh, a sharp-edged city of colorless concrete. Nothing in this modern place tugged at Nick's village heart. What were the curving paths and flowing streams? Where were the singing men, the swaying women? Where were the stories? Nick dreamed of a place to belong. Keep thinking about personality and motivations. Before work, Nick roamed the roadsides, picking up the broken pieces of village life under the modern city. He gathered chipped sinks, cracked water pots, and broken glass bangles in red, blue, and green. On his bicycle, he collected boulders from faraway riverbeds, some shaped like the people and animals he missed most. After work, he carried these treasures into the wilderness. Until, 7 years later, the time came to build the secret kingdom. And the last page here, again, continue to think of motivations and personality. He made skeletons from twisted bikes and rusty pipes, covering their frames in concrete etched with the faces of goddesses and queens. Rows of bangles made rainbows of singing men, swaying women, and laughing children. He sculpted packs of jackals, troops of monkeys, and flocks of geese. Beginning to end and back again, Nick found each group a place to belong, until he belonged too, king of a hidden land of stories. Nick built his kingdom over 12 acres and kept it secret for 15 years. Okay, so what did the author of this story reveal about Nick's personality and motivations? Well, let's look here at what the subject is like. He's a thinker and dreamer. Also careful of the environment. And also, he's private and quiet. Not a public person too much. Okay, so now, how does the biographer show what the subject is like? Well, he wrote about his thoughts and dreams. Wrote about his thoughts and dreams. The author told how Nick picked things up from the roadside. And lastly, told how Nick kept the garden secret. for a long time. Okay, so again, take screenshots if you need to, rewind, pause, do what you need to. What we have here again are a couple biographies and couple subjects of the biographies. And now this is what the subject is like based on what is written in the book. Here's how the biographer showed it, right? So, again, this is what we draw, this is what we infer, this is how the biographer showed what the subject is like. So, now, what we're going to do is we'll continue to look at biographies today. As you do, you'll take a screenshot or a picture of some facts or some things that are shared in the book. That's the first part. Take a picture or screenshot of something that's shared in the book. The second part is infer. What can you learn about the subject of the biography, about his or her motivations, about his or her personality, about the person's personality? All right. So again, a screenshot or a picture straight from the book, as well as what can you infer? What can you tell us about the person's motivations or personalities? Okay, so a couple parts there. And so I hope today put some clarity to that as we looked into a couple biographies here today. So, all right, have fun learning about more people in our history.